Perfect.
Hello, ladies and chameleons. It's the 40-40 men.
Hello.
Do I have it right? Do I have it right? Do I have it?
I think you do. Let's go. Let's go.
No, I got it wrong.
It's wrong.
Greg.
There we go. I nailed it first try this time.
Yeah.
I'm excited for myself.
I'm too close. Nope, fine. It's good.
You're all good?
Yeah, it smells great. Hasn't been anywhere bad, except for a bag of, I think, what was I eating? Oh yeah, I got a little miniature Reese things because they're all on sale now. That's the best part about Easter, when everything goes on sale.
Yeah, because it's, I mean, like all the chocolate is like so coated with sugar that it's not going to go bad in a month.
I bought for a friend of mine. I bought a package of Reese caramels, like they're like Reese's Pieces but caramel, and there was no peanut butter in them at all.
Oh,
it was weird. Like it had the right candy coating, and that's how you could tell it was like a Reese Pieces because you could tell by that. But it was Reese Piece candy coating with caramel, it was good. I liked it, but kind of like I wouldn't advertise it as a Reese because people equate Reese.
Expect it to have, yeah.
That's what I would have expected. Anyway, so for that, she gave me a nice big bag of pistachios. I'm like,
so you got your kind of nut access out of that one. Yeah,
well, I'm trying to up my protein because I'm trying to start working out again, and even though my shoulder's still a pain, so I'm trying to do like DDP yoga, baby. Diamond Dallas Page.
There you go. We discussed that the other day. Yeah. I'm gonna reiterate this because now we're on camera. But one of our buddies, Jeremiah Brunk, that was an actual acknowledgement that I know him on camera. That could get me in like some kind of legal trouble. But anyway, Jared's awesome.
Really?
Yeah, no, he was serving Diamond Dallas Page in like 2002 or so when they had a WCW event at in Toronto, and that's when he was discussing like using a lot of yoga to help his help recuperate from a lot of injuries. And that's when Jared pointed out and said, "Oh yeah, a buddy of mine stacks stuff on his head," and he's like, "Oh, I'd like to see that." So I had to go in front of Diamond Dallas Page and stack shit on my head and balance it.
One thing I've never seen that fall off your head. Has it ever actually
once
not
in a
worked?
while? It does.
Really?
It does once in a while.
Good thing I wasn't there to see that, because sometimes you get like 7 or 8 of those really big ass pint glasses, and I'm like, oh man, he's gonna hit a fan or something.
Oh god, yeah, it's happened, but not a lot. Like better success rate than the shuttle. Yeah. I mean, a couple of them.
Hey, there's another Canadian going into space.
Yeah, I know.
I like the way they described it. They said there's a woman, a black man, and a Canadian. There's 4 people going, right? And then they describe 3 of them like that. I'm like, that's just a weird way of saying it.
It sounds like a really bad joke.
Black, chick. White woman, chick. Canadian, ooh, foreigner, chick. It's very strange,
and it's about as less foreign as you could go. Yeah. Well, speaking of Canadian, speaking of Canada, and speaking of the fact that there's a baseball team in Canada, home opener today.
That was damn right. And I'm looking. So I gotta say, for the fact that we went through spring training for 6 to 8 weeks, whatever, plus the World, like the
baseball classic,
yeah, baseball. I like called the World Cup of Baseball. I think that'd be a great name for it. But anyway, that's not what it's called.
It literally
World Baseball Classic. Couple that, and then they go to let's see, where they started in St. Louis, they went to Kansas City, went to LA, and came back home to start the season on a 10-game road trip.
And two decent teams, St. Louis and LA Angels. Angels are up on the thing. Yeah,
and that's the thing, right? So I think we did like it was the longest road trip we've ever had in general. Longest one to start a season since they did it once in '84, and then once a couple of years later for some reason. I remember the '84 one. I don't know why. I think it's just because people were so mad about it. The 10-game road trip. And I think they forgot that we had like the exhibition stadium at that point. That's probably one of the reasons why.
Oh, because you had to wait for it not to snow. Yeah,
exactly. So people were bitching about that. But you know what? They did to go 6-4 on a 10-game trip to start the season against 2 of the best teams. And KC's got some decent play. Like they kept saying on the broadcast, I don't know any of these Kansas City players. Who are these Kansas City players? And I'm like, well, Vinny Pasquantino, he's pretty good at first base. He did really well last year. You got Bobby Witt Jr., who is literally the fastest player in baseball, playing short. You had Sal Perez there. Like, they've got some good players. And I mean,
well, don't you remember there was a homestand that we had last year where Kansas City had, we'd actually, it was right after the trade deadline. All Kansas City's players had been plucked from other teams, like by other teams, and Kansas City came up with essentially like their minor league affiliate, which was Omaha, and they beat us like 2 of the 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, they can, like, anybody can beat anybody, and you get to this point, like, when you're one of the top 700 best baseball players in the world, you'll be fine. So I mean, I think they did well, and the guys who were new really are standing out already. I'll get to our guys from we've already had, but Dalton Varsho, first hit he got was a 112 mile per hour shot off the bat double when he was in St. Louis. He's made some great defensive plays. He had a terrible game. Well, he had a bad one yesterday when he couldn't see the ball and you could see him. He was fighting the sky, and the ball dropped. But it was 2 out, and then Kikuchi kind of gave up a couple more runs off of that one, and it just kind of snowballed. But it happens.
They had a 6-0 hole, and they clawed back.
Yeah.
With five RBIs by Kiermaier and 5 by Chapman.
So, and that's the other one was Kiermaier. Like, these guys, their defense has been amazing. Their base running has been fantastic.
That's what we were saying the other day. When was the last time you saw a triple?
Exactly. Kiermaier got one.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't saying triples in general. I was saying triples at Rogers Center.
Oh, for us, that's what I mean. Like for us. At
home.
Like
at home. Like,
we get that was the way. But I still like I know that we got, like, I think we got 1 or 2 last year, just in general. In general, because we couldn't run.
We weren't
couldn't
fast.
Run past second.
We were terrible base runners. Like, Bo's okay. Like, here's the thing about Bo is Bo is really good. His first full season at running, like, he did 25 to 26 stolen bases, like, he was doing really well. And then his stolen base percentage dropped off the face of the earth last season, and he's already been thrown out at second this season. And okay, we're going to get into this a little bit. It's arm man. He's airmailing throws again. Like, throws are all over the place. It's infuriating because you look at it, the guy beside him, chest. Oh, a little bit over this way. Chest. Matt Chapman, every throw right there.
Yeah.
Vladius has to do this. If he's catching for Bo, he's doing them. That's why he's got that bobblehead doing the splits. That's all because of Bo.
That's the thing too, right? It's shortstop is just that little bit different. Like, if you can't throw, you're second. If you got a gun, you're playing third. And it's just that in between sort of phase that maybe your arm's too powerful and it's going.
He's too slight to play shortstop. Yeah. That's not on him. He's not a big guy, right? Yeah. And I know shortstops didn't used to be really big dudes like Spike Owen and guys like that, like Ozzie Smith.
Look at skinny Tony Fernandez. Like, it wasn't until, I mean,
but
Calvert, they had some size and Tulo has some size, right? But
they had arm strength.
Yeah.
Or if they didn't have arm strength, they had accuracy. And Bo doesn't have either of those. Like, he needs, like, if you look at him, he's not built. He doesn't have cut. He doesn't have the definition in the arms. He doesn't have to. I mean, he's hitting the crap out of the ball. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, Bo is probably one of the best, is one of the top 10 hitters in baseball right now.
Yeah.
For sure. But it's like Chapman is leading in hits, right? And batting average and all this other stuff. But he's also playing good D. Vladdy, third in hits, playing good D. Bo, he's second. Like, they were the top 3 in hits, all over 16. They were the first time since 1901 that 3 players have hit 16 or more hits in the first 9 games of the season. Yeah. So they're all hitting the crap out of the ball, but Bo he keeps innings going, and that's the thing.
Another thing that I've noticed, because we were talking about speed just a bit, we've got 6 stolen bases. Springer, by the way, is he's leading the way with 2, but I mean, we've got 6 stolen bases. We only had 1 at this point in time last year.
Well, that's the thing, and we can run. Like, we know we can run. Like, that's, and we're taking advantage of the fact that we can do it. I never really understood under Montoya why we never ran. because we had guys who could run. Lourdes was pretty quick. Teoscar was fast. Like, it's not like they were like slow ass people. They just couldn't catch. They had terrible routes to the balls. That's why they're bad outfielders. Not because of speed. It's just they didn't see balls well enough. So I just love like things like Kiermaier taking that extra base. Like there's a dribbler up the middle, and he hustles it into a double. You know, like there's just doing little taking the amount of extra bases they're taking that they're just going to make such a big difference going forward, and the defense alone is going to make a big difference. Like the pitchers love it.
We're already faster, but then there's also that extra sort of inch and a bit on the base too, right? So like
it's 4.5. It's 4.5 inches less than it was last year. 4.5 inches, which is that much.
Yeah,
like that's it. So it's not like it's a big difference. The big difference is the size of the bases. That's going to make a difference.
Yeah.
Right. But 4.5 inches between first and second and third, like 4 fucking inches, like big deal.
No, but that's what I mean. Like there's a twofold bit, but I mean, just in general, we're a faster team than we were. So that's.
Oh no, we are up and down. Yeah, we are absolutely fastest. Yeah. And Vladdy's a little like we only have one guy can't run. And right now,
his name begins with an A and rhymes with Alejandro Kirk.
Yeah. Excuse me while I clean my glasses while we discuss this, guys. This is exactly what I didn't want to happen. What's happening right now is he's in worse shape than he was last year. He's not hitting. If he doesn't hit, he's useless.
Yeah.
Because he's not like his defense. Like Buck was on it again the other day. Like he was the catcher they had. I think O'Hop was playing for the Angels, and O'Hop when he's catching, he catches like the old school catchers used to do, right?
Yeah,
with his up, like on his feet, none of this sideways leg bullshit. And Buck was like, that's how you do it, right? And he was kind of a little jab at Kirk about it because Kirk does it all. He's 5'6" though. How much lower does he need to go? Like, why do you have to? Because he's doing it to catch the lower strike, right? But the thing is, when the Robo ones come in a couple years, that doesn't mean shit. So you know what? Instead of practicing framing balls, practice catching like a regular catcher does, because that's what's going to be in a couple years if you want to stay in the league.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I'm going to say it: lose some weight, man. Like, do it. I'm not like I need everybody needs to do it, but you're a pro ball player, man. You are so slow. If there's a ground ball, it's no chance he's going to beat it out ever.
I don't mind the speed aspect of it, but it's the fact that if you're given this amount of opportunity and being paid to stay in shape, I would be in shape. Like
everybody else,
who cares how fast you are? If you've put in the work, then people will be all right.
Exactly. Like he can be slow and skinny. That's cool. Like, but it's going to affect. It's just going to affect the way he goes forward. He's going to be tired all the time. You can't be that. I know. I'm a chubby dude. I got something working on right here, man. And again, if you're a person out there who's offering their free services to train me to get rid of this punchy punch, and then we can show how it gets done.
6'4"? 6'5" or
6'5", 275.
There you go. That's a good defensive end, good tight end.
Yeah, I need to lose about 50 pounds. Now, if I can lose that 50, Alejandro can lose 20. He doesn't need that. This is the thing. He doesn't need to lose that much. He needs to get rid of that extra fat that's going to slow him down. And I'm telling you, is the reason why last year in the second half he started to fall off, because he had the DH. And I'm sure like he's going to be DHing more now, especially if Brandon Belt can't get going, because he struck out 15 times in 22 at bats.
Yeah, what are we at here? I know Belt actually. What's the average? Because he doesn't even qualify for a batting average, Brandon Belt.
No,
because
he got a hit in the first game. He got a hit in the first game of the season, and that's it. He has not got a hit since. And he's 0.75 batting average, something like that. I don't know, 0.63.
Brandon Belt, 0.43.
0.4. There you go. One hit. It was a double in the first game, and that's it. So I mean, he might be sitting to work on it, and Alejandro might be put at DH again, which again is going to tire him out. But he can't do that because Danny Jansen's been sick. So Alejandro's playing extra games at at catcher, which he shouldn't have been doing, he's going to get tired. I don't know why they don't get on him about this. I don't get it. He's the only one.
Why not put a little Dalton Varsho, because he can play catcher as well. Give him a game behind there.
Yeah, but then it's that really sacrifices our defense in the outfield, because the next best guy out there is Whit Merrifield.
No, but I mean, like we do have the extra glove back there. We can put we can still have Kiermaier,
Jordan Luplow out there.
You can have Witt and you can have Springer. You're fine. Or even
Merrifield's okay. I mean, it's just the defense takes a big hit when Varsho's not out there. He's the best defensive outfielder of all of the ones we've got. Yeah. He's the best by far. Kiermaier's older, that's why he's not. But
Biggio was actually pretty good in spring training.
We have guys who are serviceable. They're league average. Dalton Varsho was the best defensive outfielder in baseball last year.
Yeah,
he was number one.
You obviously don't want to ruin that, but he gives you another option as well, right?
No, and we might need the option.
Move him back there. Put him back for a game.
Well, I think he will play at some point. I think he might have to do it soon too, because Kirk's not hitting anything, and that's the other thing is he's hitting Kirk's 143.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that's just not good enough.
I'll tell you exactly 174.
See, and that's the thing. It's not. I mean, it is. It's only a 10-game sample size. Don't get me wrong. And I that's one thing I've been preaching to the loony bins online is that it's a short. It's a short
window
area. Short window.
It's a short size.
Yeah,
like we're not even 10%. Like when you get to when you get to roughly 20 games, because granted it's 16.2, then you've got 10%. Right?
Talk to me the end of April, end of May, end of June. Give them a month each time to do it. Like, don't give them 10 days. Like, people are already calling for Barrios' head after the first start. And I'm like, give it. And the second start, he's frustrating because he's so good.
To his credit, his ERA has come down.
Yeah.
His ERA came down.
It's just when he makes a mistake, they're really bad ones. Like, he's not like normal. Like, when you just make a mistake, it's like, oh, made a mistake. Oopsie doodle. Sorry about that. It's not like that. He makes mistakes, then he makes another one and another one, and then he's done. Next inning, he'll be fine. Two or three more innings, he'll be fine. Then he'll make a mistake and do it again. And that's what he's at. Kikuchi, great first start. Second start, he was better than the numbers say. And like I said, because of that Varsho drop, it allowed the inning to go longer. And the next batter hit a 2-run home run off him, and it just kind of snowballed a bit. But he still had 6 strikeouts.
And we'll give him the fact that he actually faced his opposite number in that and fared well. And Ohtani's a feared hitter in baseball as well as being an awesome pitcher.
I'm surprised Ohtani grounded out the last out yesterday. That surprised the hell out of me. I thought he was going to for sure get a hit out of that. But so that's fine. Then you got Bassett, who I think has now figured out what to do with the PitchCom stuff. I think he's going to get rid of PitchCom just in general, because it was like the last game, the big game he's playing in LA, he just kept having problems. He kept trying to hear it, and he's shaking his head, and he's like, he was really in the first inning, he gave up 2 runs right away because he was just like fucking, and then he just did what he needed to do. Because PitchCom, here's the thing. So you got your 20 seconds, and PitchCom is supposed to make things faster, which it does, unless you have 8 pitches to choose from. Yeah. And then it's like, oh shit. Because what do you do, right? Like, I don't even think that thing carries 8. I think you have to do. I think the actual thing doesn't program only programs up to like 5 or 6, so they have to do something else about it. But regardless, he's figured it out fine. Gosman, 0 ERA, fine.
Yeah.
Manoah
came down from he was at 12 or 13 last week. Now he's at 4.
Yeah, because he had a one hitter. One hit. We gave him 1 hit in that Kansas City game. So I mean, he's going to be what he is. Bullpen wise, I think Trevor Richards is not long for the team. He's just like, don't get me wrong, he had some pitches yesterday where like his changeup, if he's on, his changeup is unhittable. Watching like Ohtani and Trout flailing at that pitch, they're just like, what the hell, man? Like, it's a great pitch, but
I mean, he's got 6 strikeouts in 4 appearances, like essentially 3.5 innings.
But he still gives up too many hits.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's given up 7 hits. Zach Pop's doing great though.
Yes, he is. If Anthony Bass it gets better, we're going to be even better. But Anthony Bass has been kind of meh so far. He is not the strikeout machine we thought he was going to be. So I think what you're going to see is Richards will be waived, get claimed by somebody, and then we'll bring Zulueta up because Zulueta, he pitched 3 innings the other day, gave up 1 hit. And that's the thing. I think they're stretching Zulueta out to be a multi-inning option because we don't have one right now. Not really. Trevor Richards is the option, and he only goes 2, maybe. Simber can go 2, maybe. The fact he got a save the other day was brilliant, by the way, because Romano wasn't available. And then we've got, Romano was doing great, except for he blew a save, but big deal. It's going to happen, Mays has been all over the place. One game, he had faced 4 batters, struck out all 4 batters. Next game, hits.
And the next game, gives up a hit. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going on with Mesa, but we do need another lefty for sure. Because you can't rely on him right now. He's just not reliable enough. And then,
well, this is the thing too. In the next week and a bit, you are going to see a bunch of guys being waived just from teams in general. They're not cutting the mustard. So that's a different thing too. Jays can take a flyer on someone who flopped out somewhere else. It could literally just be
I don't think they will. I think they'll stick with what they've got. Because I'd rather have a Zulueta than a waiver wire guy, because the waiver wire guy is just going to be another Richards. He's going to be like the 10th guy or the 8th guy in the bullpen, and that's what Richards is now. Richards is the 8th guy. He's the last one you go to before anything else happens, right? So, I love what Pop's been doing. I think Bass been fine. Garcia's been doing great. His velocity's up 2 kilometers an hour.
You have to love anyone named Yimmy as well.
Yimmy. Well, he says he's Jimmy though. He says it's not Yimmy.
It's probably Jimmy. Yeah.
So okay, he can be Jimmy if you want to. Jimmy, Yimmy, whoever Mr. Garcia is, he's doing great. So I think our bullpen's been fine. Yeah. And then we mentioned the hitting,
and it took us as I said, it's the first week. Relax. Give everyone two spells through the rotation to see what you're going to get from the starting pitchers. But you're the one that's literally it's still Barrios that is still a little a little haywire. But everyone has done their bitten for King and Country and stuff like that. So
well, there's talk that they're thinking they are going to consider putting Barrios in the bullpen. Can you imagine for 5 more years having Barrios in the bullpen, paying him $160 million?
Yeah.
No. So he's got to fix something. Like I said, his spin rates are fine. His velocity is fine. He's not located.
He's got a ton of strikeouts. He's striking guys out.
Yeah.
And what is he at here? He's at Barrios 12 strikeouts.
But when he misses
14. Yeah.
He doesn't miss with balls. He misses in the middle of the plate. There's his last start that he had, the balls that were hit the hardest to score all the runs off him were all middle of the plate.
He's given up 14 runs. So that's thankfully, thankfully we've scored a ton. And I'm good.
And that's the thing. So that's the other thing comes out of all this is if Amy was dutting, we could score.
Yeah.
And that's without Espinal hitting, Kirk hitting, Biggio hitting. They're not hitting.
Belt hitting. Even our back at DH. Belt's not hitting.
No, that's the thing. But you know what? Our top 4 guys, Springer's only hitting 238, but our other guys are all hitting 400 or something. Vladdy's OPS is 1.1.
We've got Chapman's 475, Vladdy's 439, Bo is 362, and Kiermaier's 400. So yeah, we've got 3 in the 400s.
Exactly, and Springer, he'll come around. He's a streaky guy. He'll come on and have some killer games. I love having Kiermaier number 9. He's not going to hit 360 all year. We know that.
Okay,
but having him at the bottom, if he's an above average hitter in the 9 spot, that's automatic runners for the next roll to the top.
He's not going to be hit for power, but that guy will get on base either by walk or by hit.
And he's already shown
having that as your number 9, where you usually throw out the pitcher because you're playing in the National League Park.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, now if he's not in, it's Espinal that's been playing the 9 spot. But that's another guy who's not hitting. So, our second base situation, we were wondering how that was going to play out. Well, they brought in Jordan Luplow.
Yeah, I've seen
And
this.
he's the right-handed hitting outfielder that they wanted, which is why they sent Nathan Lucas down, because Nathan Lucas was lefty. They wanted a righty. They got a righty. Guy can't hit, but decent. Yeah. He's basically Bradley Zimmer.
Yeah.
With a little bit more ability to hit. But
you got to run no hits. You got to run no hits. And Luplow's got 3 at-bats and 2 strikeouts. But yet again, he's a kid. So
no, Luplow's not a kid. He's not that young. He was with the Braves.
He's a rookie, essentially. Like, that's the best way I would put him.
Is he? Because I mean, we stole him from the Brave system. I know he was playing. He's been in the majors before. Mr. Luplow.
Let's have a quick look. Okay, so born 93, so the guy's pushing 30. But in terms of career at bats, career at bats in Major League Baseball, he's had 844. But that's like 3 seasons.
That's what I'm saying. Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, his career WAR is 2.1. So I mean, yeah, he ain't that great. But he's not great. But I mean, he's still, he's 29 years old.
Yeah, he played in 2017. He played 27 games with Pittsburgh, and then played another 30 the next year, and then went to Cleveland, played 80, and then played 30, and then he was with Arizona, and that's where we picked him up from. We picked him up from Arizona, where he played 80 games as well. So like he's amassed. No, Arizona.
Really?
He's amassed. Yeah, he's amassed. In terms of hits,
it is Atlanta. Hits. It's right here. 2023 spring training. He was with Atlanta.
Well, that's the thing. In spring training, he actually had major league experience with Arizona.
No. What I'm saying is, you said we got him from Arizona. We didn't. We got him from Atlanta. They had him in the minors.
He played for Arizona, so Arizona shipped him off to Atlanta.
Because it says 7 games in 2023 Atlanta. Yeah, and his numbers were crap. But anyway, he's a defensive outfielder.
This is the dick out point. My 2 bosses are in front of me, pulling their pants down, standing this side. And they ran away.
As long as you're not licking your lips or something, then we're fine.
They said something was going to happen during it. I'm doing it at work, obviously. This time I've got some elaborate artwork behind.
Yes, you have fruit.
Yes, as opposed to like my desk.
Yeah. Or the last one was the Revol R in the background.
Yeah,
the last one he had. So that was free advertising. I don't know what. Yeah, there you go.
Totally, I know. I've got it just 11, and you know what? I have been rocking. Okay, so I'm gonna break away from this for a second. This logo has grown on me.
Really?
Yeah, it's grown on me. Like the Angry Jay hat. I actually liked it, but it was when we were the Jays and not the Blue Jays. We had the black and gray kind of thing. But like the Blue Jays, you're always still the Blue Jays. But this logo has actually grown on me because it still shows the Blue Jay and it has the J as like a kind of a cool thing there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's still not the classic one.
It's not a horrible logo, but it's not the right.
I've got a couple of these hats now, but that was the early 2000s. They were trying to Limp Biscuit it up kind of deal.
There was something about everybody wanted a black uniform. Like it's like that Chicago White Sox also went all black. I'm like, you're the White Sox.
But I will give them that though, because they were always white and black. Like they were always white and black. In the 80s, like the late 70s and 80s, they had that sort of red, white, and blue bit, and I liked that. That was kind of cool. With like
they had so much more than that, man.
That super shitty,
Have you ever gone through the timeline? Sports Illustrated used to show the timeline of all the different uniforms the Chicago White Sox had, and it is.
I would love that.
Oh my God, some of the shit they made them wear, man. Especially in the 70s, it was
I love stuff
shorts. Like they had to wear shorts with like knee-high socks on. They had like collars on their uniforms and shit. It was so terrible.
It's not as bad as so there was some god awful uniforms back then, but there was also some really super cool ones. I'm going to highlight some of the super cool ones. Like any of the baby blues, that used to wear the bright yellow that Pittsburgh used to wear. Like the bright yellow
with the weird hat, the circular
with that almost like stovepipe hat, the circular hat. But the bright yellow uniforms at home were awesome. And remember the Astros that used to have sort of like the rainbow, like the.
Yeah, I didn't mind those ones either.
I like that. I love that stuff.
Yeah, it's just the Chicago White Sox for some reason just have tried so many different styles. It's almost like every year for a while they had a different uniform. trying to keep up with the trends or whatever. But I mean, these are the same guys who like ruined like Disco Night. That was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Do you remember seeing that?
Yeah, it was a double.
Burning all the disco records in the
they had
center
burned all the
field.
disco records and then had to forfeit the game 2.
Yeah, I wish we could do stuff like that. That'd be fun. Let's see what's going on over here. Oh, there's
Okay,
the
so
collision. They're just showing the collision. Yeah, it's just
with the
collision.
70s, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this to you and you can post it on our Instagram page, because I'm going to mention. Okay, so there used to be the North American Soccer League, a team called the Caribous of Colorado.
The Caribous
of Colorado. Yeah, the Caribous of Colorado, not the Colorado Caribous. Right. Caribous of Colorado. Now this is like 74ish or whatever, and they had tassels. It's freaking amazing.
Have you ever seen anything from the Savannah Bananas?
Yes,
from the last couple of years.
Yeah,
that's an interesting team to follow. They got some very bizarre things, but kind of fun. I mean, that's yellow. Ridiculous. That's a yellow uniform. They had guys on stilt spatting, like all kinds of crazy stuff. Like, I don't know how they got away with it, but they do. That's the thing. It should be fun. You know, like that's why I like having mascots and stuff. It just makes the game fun. And at least that's what the Jays are doing. And that's the other thing we got to talk about is finally, with this home opener, we are going to experience the new outfield. The new walls. I've been looking at it. It looks like parts of it are like sloped like this. Like the wall starts up and it slopes down in certain areas. It goes straight down for 8 feet down in center field. Like and how close you actually are to the bullpens if you're in one of those $20 admission areas is hilarious.
You get to yell down on them.
Oh, well, awesome. The only thing blocking you from the Angel for whatever the visitor's bullpen is a 10-foot chain link fence. That's it. And they said it's only there to prevent people from throwing shit at them. But that doesn't count for the people who are higher who could throw shit at them. See, that's the one thing people got to remember about Toronto when it comes to home openers. Toronto fans turn into dicks.
Yeah.
They're horrible. We are the worst home opener fans ever, man. Like there's fights everywhere. Like everywhere. Was it you I was with? We went to the game a few years ago and who I was with.
Oh God, yeah.
Fight in our section. Like the entire section eventually got taken away because they all got in fights. And those
That's because the uniforms could have looked like this. Here you go. Check that out.
Oh my dear sweet Jesus.
Tassels.
Look at the shorty shorts too.
That was the 70s. The shorty shorts are fine. That was the style. That was a style at the time. But tassels, and that's legit.
That's
legit.
Wrong. It's like tassels on a leather jacket, also wrong. Although Travis Tritt used to wear tassels like that. First of all, fuck Travis Tritt. Second of all, fuck Kid Rock. Okay. I can't. Oh man, I'm getting angry about this one.
I'm getting ready for that here.
It's not going to be that ranty. Those two dumb fucks. Okay. With their anti-Budweiser thing, because Budweiser won't put a rainbow on their label.
They've got
snow. They call the left snowflakes. What a bunch of fucking snowflakes! It's a beer with a rainbow on the cover. Who gives a? Is it bothering you that much?
They've got a drag performer advertising for it as well, and that's one of the big things that.
I saw it on Facebook. They were showing a picture of Travis Tritt, like some of his like promo shots from like years ago when he was first starting out, wearing makeup.
Yeah,
he looks like a girl. He's got tight fitting jeans and he's standing like this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I'm sorry, but you've all been with gay people. You've been to a drag show. They have a shot of Kid Rock with the most famous drag performer in the United States when he was younger, having a grand old fucking time. Like, I don't get these idiots. Like, I'm not going to get started on the American politics, but just in general, the right are fucked up. Like, I don't understand why you just can't go with, does it affect you personally? No. Fuck off.
Yeah.
That's it. Fuck off. If this doesn't affect you in a way where it's doing something to you personally, fuck off. It's that simple. Like
Can you yourself change
let
it? No,
let
then shut up.
people let people be what they want to be. They're not harming you. They're not like sticking knives in your eyes. If you don't like looking at it, don't look at it. Change the channel. Whatever the hell. They're not indoctrinating your children. They're not like brainwashing. They're not grooming. You're all projecting. If there's anybody who's a bunch of fucking pedophiles in that goddamn country, it's those Republicans. But anyway, all I'm saying is just let people be who they are. Call people out on their dumb shit. Don't be afraid to call out people on their dumb shit. The reason all this stuff is happening now is because we don't call people out on their dumb shit. Call out people on their dumb shit. You gotta call out people on their dumb shit.
Anyway,
Seriously.
that whole thing started because I put up the tassels. You were talking about the outfield wall.
They wouldn't have been like those tassels. Would not have liked those tassels. But then, I like the fact that baseball and like other sports do try to make changes with the uniforms. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a good idea. You don't want the same shit unless you like the Yankees or the Cubs.
No, but things like that, like you don't change that, right? Like it's their thing. Yeah.
But then they didn't. Or Boston's pretty close to iconic. But then they had those weird Boston yellow uniforms, like the urban uniform, or whatever the hell from last year.
I don't get those ones. Yeah.
It was just some kind of weird promotional thing. Apparently, all the teams are going to do it. Whoever didn't do it last season is going to have one of those dumbass uniforms this season.
My thing is I have a glaring problem whenever you're called like a specific color. So like you're the Cincinnati Reds and you do something other than red. But if you're going like gray or black, which is essentially like a neutral, whatever, it's fine. But if Cincinnati Reds have a blue, so this is why like I mean I get that we have red uniforms on Canada Day, but with the Toronto Blue Jays, it's whatever. But I mean the Boston Red Sox having yellow,
it was just weird, and they weren't the only ones.
Jersey.
Like they all the ones who had those, I can't know what they called those jerseys, but they were the ugliest, like urban whatever the fuck jerseys they were supposed to be. They were terrible looking jerseys. I don't know who decided that they thought they'd be good. And I even like they might say, oh, it's for the young people. I'm pretty sure the young people wouldn't wear those horrible looking jerseys. Like they're just not good. They just weren't. They had bad fonts, they had bad colors. Like even the shade of yellow was a shitty shade of yellow. I wouldn't call it canary. It was more like piss yellow rather than canary yellow. Although piss yellow would work out fine in Fenway Park because apparently that's what the whole stadium smells like. It's piss.
Oh yeah, it's.
I really want to go. I really want to go.
It's fun to watch a game there, but when you assess it, you're like, you understand the history that's behind it. But then when you assess what's going on, you're like, wow, it is a shithole, but it is fun. And 99% of the people in the audience are racist because it's Boston.
Yeah.
So
There's I even so still got to go at some point this season. I think if it's not Boston, one place I'd like to hit sometime this summer maybe would be Pittsburgh.
That's supposed to be a killer park. I have never been there yet.
It's supposed to be the best park. Like
in terms of the old school ones, I've been to Fenway, I've been to Wrigley, been to Old Tiger Stadium as well, and that was just that was a dumpster fire. Oh, it was like they still had that flagpole in the middle of play.
Yep.
Like it was a good 2 or 3 feet inside the outfield wall. Why I
440 feet to center field. That was just ridiculous. That's crazy.
It used to be the home for the for the Lions as well. So like it used to host the football team. So I mean, I get the dimensions, but holy crap, it was.
Yeah, we had a football team with a bigger field. In Toronto, we didn't have 440 feet to center field.
Yeah.
The Argos played. The CFL field bigger.
That little, but that little how first first had that big L and went to like third. The Argos, like it didn't really start until part there, so there was a hell of a lot of foul territory that was in that. Exhibition Stadium was awful. It was
talking about we were talking about the stadium changes. I was watching a podcast yesterday, and they had Richard Griffin on. I think he still writes for the Star, or he used to write for the Star, and he was talking about the renovations for next year. And one thing I didn't know is that they're planning on making these premium areas on the first 100 level, not on the field, but like
within the first 3 rows.
Like like the Leafs have their their platinum lounge, that kind of
Yeah, because
thing.
you go underneath, like so you
Yeah,
have like your
and
seats, but
that's
then
what
you
they're
go
going to
underneath it
do.
there. Yeah.
They're going to have them underneath, underneath the
Mhm.
there, right? So what they're worried about, Griffin's worried about, he's like, it's going to start putting up like Leaf games when the game starts. It's going to be like all people around the outside is going to be full, but the really expensive seats, they're all going to be in their
Mhm.
little whatevers.
Yeah,
I mean, they're going to
it's
be making bigger seats.
the
I'm
same. It's the same with everything. Like for the first 5 or 10 minutes, the best seats in the house aren't occupied because, they're in the platinum lounge
Yep,
private bar. So
yep, exactly. My friend used to run the Platinum Lounge. She had so much fun doing it. She left the country and cut ties with everybody. I don't know what the hell happened there, but man, it's not good. Not good at all.
sex traffic or abduction.
Nah, too smart for that.
She left on her own
So
accord. Okay.
yeah. So going into today's game, we're playing the Tigers, right? Tigers are 2-7.
Yeah. Manning
Not
is
worried.
pitching for the
Oh,
Tigers.
we
He's a six
should.
six. He's a 6'6", 200. He's apparently a fireballer, but he
Yeah.
has no control though. Yeah.
Actually, who we should be talking about right now is Tampa Bay,
Undefeated.
because
Yeah.
they have the best since 1987.
Yeah.
The best start,
That was that
and
was the Tigers. Yeah.
mm-mm, mm-mm, it was
Hmm.
not. The Tigers, like that killer season
Sorry,
they had,
The Tigers were eight. Tigers
that
were
was
84
1984.
Tigers were 84.
Yeah, they
When
went
that was
35-5, but they didn't start 10
yeah,
and 10 in a row. I believe it was Milwaukee, maybe something like that.
87 Brewers. Yeah.
So they need 3 more wins to tie the record to start a season. And up until yesterday's game, they had won every game by at least 4 runs. If they had done that one more time, they would have tied the major league record for amount of games in a row winning by 4 or more runs.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's killing me is it's not necessarily the pitching that they're winning with, it's the hitting. They're hitting the shit out of the ball.
I thought that they were gonna fall victim to like their torrid pace of last year. I was like, yeah, they're gonna be a middling team.
Well, now you got
right.
one more year of Randy Rosarena, one more year of Wander
Yeah.
Franco under their belts, and those are the 2 guys who are hitting the snot out of the ball
And then
now.
in true Tampa Bay fashion, they're not gonna re-sign them because they're gonna let them go.
Oh no, Wander Franco's in for 10 years.
Remember?
Remember?
Rosarena.
Oh, Rosarena. No, they'll keep
yeah.
him. He'll keep him. I have a feeling he'll stay. He's got at least 3 more years, if I'm not mistaken. Because when they went to the World Series, he was a rookie, and he wasn't even considered a rookie.
I'm looking at this 87 Brewers lineup. It's crazy. Like BJ Surhoff, Rob Deere, Robin Yount, Paul Molitor, Jim Ganter,
Cecil Cooper.
Cecil Cooper. Yep, Cecil Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
Who's their pitchers here? Let's have a quick look.
Teddy Higuera. Teddy Higuera should be on that team.
Jay Aldridge.
Al Aldridge, maybe.
Ray Burris. Teddy Higuera. Yeah, Teddy Higuera is. Wow, that's crazy. That's some crazy shit. Yeah,
they were a good team in the 87. They're the reason why we lost the pennant. Well, because they killed us in the last week of the season. They lost 4 games in a row to them before we played the Tigers.
They did. Milwaukee randomly was always one that helped us out when we needed it too.
No. Milwaukee was the team they were the bane of our existence. They were the one team we couldn't beat.
But when we needed someone to actually beat the Yankees or beat whatever, just in order to catch up, Milwaukee was there. Like I do have vivid memories of them posting a Milwaukee score in like 80. I don't know, 88-ish, 86-ish or somewhere like that on that really shitty scoreboard they used to have in the back part of Expedition Stadium, with the
yellow and black. It was all
the yellow and
Doc
black,
Richardson
the big white scoreboard,
yeah.
and they posted a Milwaukee score, and I just remember the crowd going, "Yeah, Milwaukee!" And I was just like, because I watched baseball at the point in time, but I didn't follow it as closely. Like I was like, "Oh,
they were the bane of our existence overall." I mean, they might have helped us somewhere, but they were the team that we could not beat. Just for every season, we just couldn't fucking beat them.
And because of that, it was always Paul Molitor. It was like, oh, he was a guy that killed us. And then having him on the team was like, yep, I can see why. Because
Cecil Cooper did good against us. Yount did really good against us.
Yeah,
they had some really good hitters in that part. And I think that was just before they introduced that's just a couple years before Sheffield came in as a rookie with them.
And Sheffield turned into a monster. Yeah.
I mean, they say the PEDs. I don't know. He should. I think he's another Hall of Famer that should be. I mean,
But he's the guy
honestly,
that consistently flirted with Triple Crown every year. Like,
well, that's the thing. Like, I know these guys all they did PEDs and they're not. They want to keep them out of the Hall of Fame and all that stuff. But you know what? It is what it is. Every decade they tried to get ahead somehow. We've had that's why he had spitballs and screwballs and things like that for a
yeah,
while. You know,
nail
that's why
files in your glove. That's
exactly
pine
like
tar on a
every
bat.
exactly. So I mean, everybody's been trying to make an edge, and in the '70s it was greenies, and in the '80s it was Coke. Tim Raines used to take Coke out into the field in his back pocket with him. Onto the field.
There's
What
this is the
the
thing is like
fuck?
at the in like 10 years ago there was the Apple Watches kind of deal, right? Like and now they actually do have a pitch comm, but I mean, like, there was the Apple Watches. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got banging a garbage can. Someone's always going to try something. There's something going on now that we don't know yet.
Yep.
And then in about a few years, it's going to take like Jose Canseco is going to write a book on it again and say, here's what people are doing. No one's going to believe him. And then a couple of years later, it's going to be true.
Oh, a scumbag that guy is. I'd rather be his brother. At least he had some scruples.
He was right, though. I will give him. He was right.
He was right because he started it all. Him and Mark McGuire, man. Like Mark McGuire's arms at 20 years old were like, really? Really?
I love the bit about all of them appearing before Congress, and when they asked Mark McGuire, he's like, "I'm not here to talk about the past. That is exactly why you are here.
Yeah,
you are here to testify in front of Congress about what happened." He's like, "I'm not here to talk about the past." You missed the whole point.
Yeah. Or AKA, I got caught.
Yeah,
I don't want to talk about it. I got caught.
And to this day, I love Giambi for that. He got caught. He's like, "Yep, I did." Took his lumps.
Yep.
And then came back. He said, "I did." Took his suspension and then came right
didn't
back.
do the Palmero thing. No. Yeah.
A-Rod blaming his cousin. Oh, it's my cousin gave me something. I don't remember this. I don't remember what.
The Balco,
the whole thing. You're a high performance
athlete. But I
mean,
overall,
gave you something and you don't remember.
Overall, they should just let it happen anyway. Like, these guys got numbers. There should, like, asterisks. You want to put them beside him, fine. Like, you want to put it. You want to say, "Oh, but he was da da da." Fine, but they should.
You can put an asterisk beside Roger Maris's because Roger Maris got to play more games than Babe Ruth.
Exactly. Like, I don't see. I mean, to me, Roger Clemens might have, but I don't think his really affected him as much as affected others, because Roger Clemens looked the exact same when he was 40 as he did when he was 20. He's a big bulldog, as opposed to Barry Bonds.
All it did was like a back from injury quicker. Yeah.
And Barry Bonds was a skinny little dude who turned into a big-headed, like Ken Griffey Jr. in the second season of that Homer in the Bat episode of The Simpsons, where he's taking the growth serum. Ken Griffey's grotesquely swollen jaw, and he has like gigantism. Yeah, that's Barry Bonds, basically. Yeah. Mattingly, save those sideburns.
Did Bonds have to have braces? I don't remember.
I don't know.
Did he wear braces? Because that was one of the things that your jawline expanded and also created space between teeth. Because I don't know if you remember, in 1988 there was a big old braced Carl Lewis, like wearing braces. No, he didn't take growth hormones. No.
Maybe he had the first Invisalign. No. Who knows? Because I don't remember.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I could have been. Yeah.
Everybody's using that stuff now. I don't know, the Invisalign stuff. But anyway, I just think they should be in there regardless, because everybody knows what they did. You can't discount it. But I mean, it's just, if you discount them, then you're discounting other people's stats who had hits off them or got struck out by them. Like, you just can't make that distinction. Like, I'm sorry.
Then certain pitchers weren't as shitty because they didn't give up as many home runs too.
And the other thing is, it wasn't illegal. That's the other thing that people seem to forget, is back then, as much as oh God, they did it, it wasn't illegal for them to do it. So when they did
that's also the thing too. Both sides were doing it, pitchers and batters. So it almost evened the playing field.
That's what I mean. So I mean, it's just, the whole thing is just, it's just enough. It's enough. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the writers are starting to realize that now. That's why you saw some guys getting higher percentages of votes and stuff like that. But it's just, yeah. Oh, did you hear who's going to throw the first pitch of the Jays game today?
Nope.
He is a Hall of Famer. recent Hall of Famer,
Mm-hmm.
played for us for a while, a long while ago.
Roberto Alomar.
Nope.
Because I was gonna say why? Because he is not a
He's
good
been banned, boy. He ain't
yeah.
gonna see him again.
Hall of Famer played for us for a while ago. No, a while ago.
He has not been a Blue Jay for a very, very, very long time. He had a 20-year career, and the last 15 were not with the Blue Jays.
Bobby Cox.
No.
I mean, he was a manager.
Yep. Now this player does have tie. You can tie him to Bobby Cox, and you can also tie him to Roberto Alomar.
I mean, it's not Joe Carter because he's not in the. Okay, I'm drawing a blank. I'm out. Who?
Crime Dog.
McGruff.
Crime Dog.
Yes. Yeah. Awesome. A recent inductee. That's because I forgot that he just got in. Oh, that's awesome. That's great.
Yep. So you have Bobby Cox. He's with Bobby Cox in Atlanta, and no, he wasn't with them in Toronto. Yeah. And then and then you had Roberto Alomar. Well, the trade. So he was with both.
He was. I think he was under the Jimmy Williams and Cito.
He was.
Yeah.
Jimmy 1M.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine got a picture taken with Johnny Gibbons today because John Gibbons is in town, of course.
Yeah. He loves his Toronto connection. I love Gibby.
He does. You know who's just disappeared off the face of the earth that I actually have spent time with and chatted with and had drinks with? Greg Zahn.
Oh yeah. Well, he got Me Too'd off of.
Oh yeah, I know. But I mean, I haven't heard anything. Like nothing from him.
I know he has a podcast or did have a podcast, and he's somewhat active on Instagram for a little while, but I same thing. I haven't seen or heard of it. And he actually had a great insight into baseball as well. Like whenever it's a person that has to do with every pitch, and he was a catcher, like because he was a decent hitter, but he was a great catcher.
Well, if you notice who Sportsnet's hired as people so far, Joe Siddle, catcher, Caleb Joseph, catcher.
Yeah.
They give Buck Martinez, catcher.
Yeah,
guys who they put up, they always either a pitcher or a catcher, usually a catcher, but it's not a catcher. It's going to be a pitcher.
Because you have to study the game more.
Exactly.
You have to
be
involved.
Unless you're Joe Morgan, you're going to be a pitcher or a catcher. That's it. Or on the MLB Network where they have people from all over the bloody place.
Wasn't Bob Uecker a catcher as well?
Yes, he was. Bob Uecker's a fantastic human being, and he's still alive.
Yeah,
I'm surprised. I mean, I first knew Bob Uecker because of Mr. Belvedere. That's how I first got introduced to Bob Uecker. and then it was like, then I realized who he was, and I'm like, what the hell did they do Mr. Belvedere for? That seems like a step in the weird direction. He was a great play-by-play guy, and he was awesome in Major League. Like he made the movie for me in Major League.
Yeah,
just a bit outside.
Anything to add here? Nope. That's why he's the best color man of the business. Yeah.
Yep. The other one I like is in Bull Durham when they're on the road and he has a stick and a bat. He goes, line drive, the center field for. I guess he would hit the brick or something like that because he wasn't actually at the field, so he tried to make it sound like a base hit, and he'd have like canned like, hey. Yeah. It was just the way it was done, man. Like that's how they did that shit. Like I would love to have been a minor league baseball guy for a while because that would have just been fun. Living in the middle of buttfuck United States somewhere, whatever red state that it's in, and you're in a town of like 500 people.
And that's like a big thing to do that day. Yeah.
So, yeah, like I said, some like the Iron Pigs. It's one of my favorite like minor league baseball team names, the Iron Pigs.
Oh, we gotta do that one day. Do a recant of some of the good names, because there's a ton of killer names. Former affiliate of ours, the Vegas 51s. I love that name. That is such a cool name.
I used to have that hat.
51s.
I wore the hell out of that hat.
I still do. Like the alien with the base, like the alien baseball.
Yep. Yeah. That was. I was glad they were there. That was the. I think that was the Hinsky years, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Oh, Hinsky.
And even the Lansing Lugnuts. That's a great name too.
Yeah. No, Bison's. Meh, I don't really get it. I don't like.
Buffalo always has this thing with having Buffalo involved in their name.
Yeah.
like some kind of bovine thing, because Buffalo Bisons, the Buffalo Bills, even the Buffalo Bill, they just have a picture of Buffalo Bills
Yeah,
essentially.
but then of course then
And
you
I
have the
mean,
Sabres, which makes no sense.
even their yeah, I don't get that one.
And they got
Their
the Buffalo
college team,
Bandits.
the Buffalo what are they called? The Buffalo Bulls. Their college team is the Buffalo Bulls, the University of Buffalo. So it always has to have like some kind of bovine.
It amazes me that Buffalo has so many like major league teams, and it is not a major league city. It's not big. It doesn't have a massive population or anything like
Well,
that.
it's got
For some
two.
reason,
It's got hockey and it's got football. The
yeah.
majority of their football fans do come from this area, a good percentage, and it's also once a week, right? Like you got
Yeah.
8 games, so you can stock a 70,000-80,000 seat stadium.
But I mean, even the Bisons, like they were the first team ever to draw in minor leagues to draw 1 million fans when they built that ballpark 20 years ago, whatever they built it.
It was in the 90s. They built the Pilot Field.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
it's a great park.
And now it's even more like
I think it's Coca-Cola Stadium now.
Well, now it's more like a big league park because they had to redo all the configurations for baseball, right? So like,
yeah.
And then here's another funny thing. So I was talking to a friend of mine who used to work at the Dome, who now basically helps out other stadiums with their issues, basically. And we were talking with somebody. Somebody mentioned something online about why we don't have grass. Like, if we're going to do all the renovations, why didn't we put grass field?
Well, we have to uproot the entire underneath of the thing, putting in sprinklers.
Well, that's what I said. It's all about drainage, right? Because they don't have a drainage system. And my friend said, he goes, that wasn't the main reason. I'm like, he goes, it could have been done. He goes, the hardest part was the air circulation. Is if you're taking minus 20 degree weather and bringing it in from outside and turning into 20-degree weather for the grass and then sending it out again. He goes, the airflow was the issue. He said, in order for the air to flow properly, it would have cost way too much money. And that apparently is the reason why. And I did not know that. I thought it was, drainage, because they don't have a drainage system. And he goes, yeah, that's some of it, but actually this is the main reason. I'm like, oh, because I guess you could build drainage, I guess. I mean, if you go towards the lake,
it's the entirety of the bottom structure has to be uprooted, gutted, and stuff. So it can be done. It can be done over and off.
But they're never going to. But I mean, a lot of teams are going away from grass because grass is expensive to upkeep. So Arizona
that's the thing is, unless you live in like a temperate climate where you can keep Arizona also gets rapidly dry as well. Like, so
that's why they got their roof, just in case.
Yeah, and having grass in like a northern state, like granted,
Minnesota,
Seattle is very rainy, so it can say. But I mean, you're going to have grass in Yankee Stadium. It's an open air stadium. It's pretty massive, so you can get your airflow that you need in that one. But
you're going to see a lot more places going to turf now, because turf is so good that it's negligible in some cases when it comes to grass. So you're going to start seeing more turfing because you can just install it and leave it. And that's it.
It's less maintenance. Yeah,
exactly. So other than that, I'm looking forward to seeing the game today, which starts in
20 some odd minutes from now.
Well, it's a
7:30. Like, I mean, they're going to have a half an hour worth of stuff beforehand. So
exactly, because Kirk's going to get his silver slugger, Vladdy's going to get his gold glove.
Mm-hmm.
There's somebody else who's.
I mean, technically, we could have given Robbie Ray his, but
he's on the DL. He got
really
hurt. Oh yeah, Teo's only got 2 home runs so far. He's hitting under 200. Moreno's hitting, from the last I checked, was hitting 240, doing all right, getting some hits.
Yeah.
He's doing what you've kind of figured he would do. I think by the end of this season, him and Varsha are going to be pretty close. I think Moreno might tail off a little bit because he's sharing duties, but honestly, like, this is just proving to me, and I guess this is what other teams saw, is probably what I saw, is that's why we couldn't trade Kirk. All the things I said earlier was the reasons why no one traded.
The optimal time to trade him was the All-Star break.
Yeah.
Because everyone saw that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now he's just and now he's just what he is. And I hope he can hit again. I hope he can, because that's what he's here for. He's not here for his defense. He's not here for his running. He's here to hit. And if he doesn't hit, we're pretty fucked. That means we like, what do you do? Rob Brantley?
He's here for his on-air personality skills.
Yeah. He has the same face for everything, just like my friend's dog.
It's a poker face. Nailed it.
Yep. I'm very happy. I'm very sad. I'm very excited. I had a baby. Yay. Baby. Yeah.
Killed it.
Start eating some
All right.
salads, Alejandro Kirk. Eat some salad.
Well, kids, I figure it's been an hour.
Yep.
An
So
hour for us. And,
enjoy the home opener and enjoy watching what happens with his outfield, because it is the most significant thing to happen to this team overall in years. This has never happened before, so let's see how it goes.
Will never happen
It's
before
not-
with us.
It's
happened
not
before
really
many other
jutty.
places.
From what I see, it's very flowy, like in and out like this. It doesn't just like get that like hard angles. It just kind of the ball comes out a bit, goes back in a little bit, comes back out a little bit. It's kind of like a wavy feeling.
And then speaking of airflows, you do also have your infield swirl. So if they do have the roof open today, first thing seeing the new walls, you might get that little infield swirl.
I wonder if they're going to open it. I wonder if they will. Like, I don't think they will. They have said, though, going into this season, that what they want to start doing is, instead of opening it when it's nice, they want to close it when it's getting bad. It's that basically saying that they want to open most of the time, even if it's cold. So let's do it.
Like, we're Canadian. We can handle the cold weather. That's fine.
Exactly. If you can sit through a TFC game down by the lake,
oh god, yeah,
SkyDome's easy.
Yeah,
because
that's nothing.
That lake effect. Whew, dear sweet Jesus.
But
it's 21. It's 21 degrees right now, so I don't see any reason why you wouldn't. I don't think it's planned to be open, but maybe they will.
You never know.
Yep.
So I do know, like in years past, they've always had like closed because it's a little more of a light show, right? Because you have like the player and shows and stuff like that. So they'll probably close it, but they could open.
You're right, because they will have. That's right. They will have the light stuff going on. It's probably going to be more crazy this year than it was last year. Like last year, they just had something for Romano, and that was it. But now they're probably going to have like music and lights for everybody, which would be kind of neat.
Oh, all righty, kids.
Oh. Yep.
We're gonna bust out.
So remember to watch us on YouTube if you can. Like and subscribe. Do all that fun stuff for us. If you want to leave notes for us, leave anything in the comments, feel free to do so. Those of you who have done that on Facebook, which I have noticed, we do not watch Facebook as we're doing this. So asking us questions in the middle of the broadcast.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna bring up. Okay, so good thing you mentioned that. Anyway, we'll discuss that next week. Yeah, comment on Facebook next time. We'll be good.
Comment wherever you can. We'll get back to you. Yeah. Remember the 40/40 men on Twitter.
I'm gonna set up a screen on there and have like the feeds put on. So if you put on, then we'll say something. So good thing you reminded me of that. All right.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for. Okay, have fun watching baseball, people.
Peace.
Peace.